I had thought I'd either go work in the music industry, so originally thinking I'd be some sort of DJ. I also thought about being a record rep, so actually working at a record company and working with artists because I've always been a huge fan of music. So it wasn't in my view. I'll put it that way. But then once I saw what it's like to be a professor and the life really appealed to me, I started thinking about it more. So I did some work outside of academia. I worked for a newspaper. I worked doing proofreading work in my 20s, and then decided to go get a master's degree. While I was getting the master's degree, I was asked to come and apply for the PhD program at Kansas. And once I started teaching in the classroom, I just fell in love with it and decided this is how I want to spend my time. This is how I want to focus. So one thing I like about communication, and you would know this because you've taken classes with me, is that though we have our own theories, we do touch on other things as well. So like in my rhetoric class, you can look at history. You can look at what was the history in which this speech was given. And so you're looking at the communication strategies, you're looking at the form of the speech, the style of the speech, but you're also looking at the context of it. When I was in high school, I had AP history classes, and I am somebody who's always loved history. And though it wasn't like a path that I wanted to take for a discipline, I do appreciate that my job allows me to dip my toe into other disciplines. To be honest, when I was first looking for a job, I was finishing up my PhD at KU and I saw there was a job available here. I needed something that would allow me to still commute to Lawrence. So I picked it for that reason. I didn't know how long I would be here because I grew up in Kansas City, and UMKC in the past was seen as a school that was more for commuters maybe. And when I got here, I realized that I had a lot of myths that needed to be debunked about UMKC, and found it to be like a very vibrant research university with top-notch scholars and just an exciting environment. The student population is of all the schools I've been at, whether as a student or as a graduate student, or I taught for 5 years at a large research university, this is my favorite student population and the one that I can relate to the most. And so I love so many different aspects of both the faculty, classes that we have, the variety of classes, and just being able to engage with so many different students that have so many different hopes and aspirations and are doing so many great things.